Welcome to the podcast Quadrant, a show about the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yaros. We are now covering the fourth wing book. This episode is on bonus chapter 16. I'm Nate.
I'm Abby.
We want to let everyone know that we are covering the bonus chapter 16 and everything that has had to do with the book up until then. We're going to go over the summary of it, and then afterwards we're going to talk about how it all impacts the entire book of Fourth Wing, and then go even deeper and talk about how it affects the entire series of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So if you haven't read up until then, at that point you can tap out, but we'd love to have you guys stick around up until that point. And then also for everyone involved, there's a content warning. This book, it's got some spicy scenes, it's maybe some language that you may not like. So if that's not your thing, feel free to tap out or to listen with careful ears. Other than that, we're happy that you guys are joining us along.
Yes, and we will get copper spoiler warnings when we go to each new level of spoilers. So if you've read up to chapter 16, you're good for now and through the summary. And then we'll let you know when we're going to start talking about the entire book.
Awesome. So my lovely wife is going to provide us with the amazing summary. We're going to analyze the crap out of it. And we're going to dive right into the summary of the bonus chapter 16, which is Xaden's POV.
Yeah, so we just covered the bonus chapter 9, which was also
right.
Xaden's POV.
Exactly.
All right. Anything else before we just...
We're back, I guess.
Yeah.
This is new and this is our very first podcast of doing video, so we are learning. I'm really learning. You, babe, have done like all the work and research, and I'm just kind of like tagging along.
For recognizing.
Yes, I'm just kind of tagging along and just showing up to participate in class. Yes. So, and I've been busy with obviously season everything, and we've both been busy really with work, but we're finally trying to catch up as best we can.
Yeah, and so... If you guys don't know, Nate's a collegiate tennis coach. So this is collegiate tennis season. He is really crazy busy. And
we're in the thick of it.
The thick of it. You are. You're in the middle of season, and we're hoping it's a hard balance because we want the team to do good and we want them to go to state and conference, whatever.
Yeah.
All that. But then of course that extends out season. So if they go to all the rounds of everything, how long? Like, when does season end? That's what the people want.
If we make it to conference, we will be playing in season until end of April. If we don't make it to conference, it would be the second to last week of April.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with season, and
so
we'll go from there.
May is when we're back full schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, what you get is what you get.
Yep.
I'm not even going to say, one episode a week, because I don't want to put that
promise anything.
And then, so we're not done. We're just taking a break because of season, but we're back with video, and that's kind of all the new stuff.
We appreciate all of our fans saying, "Where's the podcast and where are you guys?" or and stuff like that. We hear you, and we love you all for worrying about us.
So. I know. Like the first time when we didn't have an episode a day, we said we would have an episode, and I was like, literally no one's gonna care. And then people were commenting and messaging like, where's the episode? And I was like, oh, people listen.
They noticed.
Do you think they'll notice?
They noticed.
So we're learning that too, where there's actually, it's shocking to me that people, cares.
Yeah. Thank you for caring.
Yeah, thank you.
We love you.
I don't know where to look. Do I look at me?
I'm looking at you.
Do I look at you in real life?
I'm looking at you in real life. I'm also looking at your
camera. Do I look at your camera?
Look at my camera.
Because to look at you, I had to
This hurt my neck.
I know.
It takes a lot of work.
I know. So if my eyes are wandering, I'm sorry. I just thought of that. And then what are you gonna do while I read this summary?
I'm gonna do facial reactions like everybody else would while we're reading
a
summary and be like, ooh.
Okay. Because
that's what I'm not going.
Sound like the Grinch. Because while you were doing the intro, I was like, where do I look?
Yeah.
What do I do with my face? What do I do with my hand? Anywho.
I might have to bring up Holly, our cat, and just mimic what you're doing, like how you're summoning. Like if there's a fighting thing, I'm gonna pick her up and go.
Okay, I think we're ready. Do you know what you're gonna be doing while I record? While I read?
I'm just gonna go off of like natural
vibes,
instincts and vibes. Yeah,
okay,
and we'll
cool.
see what happens. I might pick up Holly. I might place her on your head. You never know.
Oh boy. Okay. Are we ready?
I'm ready for the summary.
Let's get going. Okay. The chapter starts with Dane talking to Violet and accusing Xaden of doing something. Xaden asks him what he's done, and Dane says he thinks Xaden somehow manipulated threshing. Xaden denies it and reminds us that humans have no say in the lives of dragons or any type of power over the dragons. Xaden recounts the events that he did see at threshing, that Violet was attacked, saw her fighting Jack and the others, and that he didn't interfere even with all of that going on. Xaden says that the important thing Dane should be asking is whether or not Sgael saw what Violet did. Because Taryn and Sgael are mated dragons, Violet and Xaden are now linked together through their dragon's own mating bond. If Violet were to get injured, it could start a chain of events that would cause Xaden to die as well. Same thing with Taryn is if he were to die, the mating bond between dragons is so strong. You're distracting. Okay. Xaden deals with his conflicting feelings. Oh my gosh, I can't even read. Can you stop?
I didn't even do anything.
Oh my god, please. Xaden deals with his conflicting feelings about Violet. On the one hand, he is really attracted to her and admires her bravery, but he is also...
All I knew was on my head.
He is also afraid of her because she could make him lose control. Xaden asked Dane if he would have broken rules to protect Violet, and he says he wouldn't have. His answer is what Xaden predicted it would be, and he wanted Violet to see Dane's true colors, but now he knows it hurts Violet that she heard this. Xaden warns Violet that she will now be a target for all of the unbonded riders because they now know Taryn is willing to bond. This and other conversation that we hear Xaden have with Sgael shows us how protective Xaden is already feeling over Violet. Garrik and Xaden talk about moving Liam to Violet's squad so that he can help protect her. Dane goes over to Violet to help her lace up her armor, holds her face in his hand, and kisses her. Xaden is jealous, angry, and just feeling a lot of feelings.
End of chapter?
The end.
Okay, I think we got like a dramatic end of chapter. Something.
Yeah, it's not church.
Something. No, not church, but something that signals.
A gabble.
Where's our clapper? Where's our clapper? We have a clapper.
That's
we
for
had
the
a
beginning.
clapper.
We do.
No.
We can't do that
Our
at the
own
end.
rules. We can do whatever we want. It's our podcast.
That's not like what you do. We do have a clapper. I didn't even think about it.
Anyhow. All right. So, what were your thoughts in this chapter from Xaden's POV, which is obviously very, very different than the normal POV of the normal book? And just your own thoughts about.
I enjoyed this bonus content from Xaden's POV much more than I did enjoy chapter 9 from Xaden's POV.
Yeah.
That one was just like...
It's kind of
fluffy. It was too angsty.
Yeah.
Too much of like... I guess that one was more romancy than this one. I don't know. Like, he just talked a lot about, like, wanting to be on top of her and, like, how she smelled.
Because they're in the sparring gym, and he's, like, really having inner conflicts of if he's attracted to her or does he hate her because of her mom and all of that stuff that we already know of, and going forward of what that means to her. And even so in this chapter, I've written down notes of he still sounds, like, unsure of how he feels.
Right.
Even more so.
Right.
He just knows that he thinks she's attractive.
Yeah.
But now I kind of have to protect her. So now I'm kind of like forced to like protect her and borderline.
It's a lot of feelings.
It's a lot of feelings.
And I have thoughts about that. Mm-hmm. You as like in general.
Yeah.
What I thought. And I liked it more than I thought I would. I liked it more than chapter 9 bonus.
I was laughing a lot in this
chapter. And I love Sgael. And I enjoyed it. I liked this chapter. I don't necessarily know if I needed chapter 9 bonus, but I did need this.
And because of the normal book, we only get voices, from like all the main characters, but never Sgael. where we just get
Right.
Sgael's like secondhand like sentences or words from Xaden or from Terran.
Right. We never
And
hear her.
and only in this type of POV would we ever hear Sgael like first person, if we want to call it that.
Right. Yeah. That
So
was cool.
Sgael is very quick mouth, very witty,
Yeah.
very sassy.
Sassy. I mean, so is Terran. So I wonder, are all dragons sassy? Because Andana gets
And
sassy
Dan
too.
is very sassy. This is true.
Yeah.
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 So no, I love Sgael. I even wrote that as a note that
Oh,
my
really?
little like notes to Rebecca that we need more Sgael like ASAP
Mhm.
pronto, and therefore maybe need more Xaden POV chapters in book 3.
Right. But this is. Wait, what is the rest of the book? Is it Violet's point of view or is it?
The only other POV is the last chapter of this book,
Right.
which
So
is
it's
Xaden, but we don't
always
hear
first
it.
person.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you think you're saying maybe future books.
I think
more
that would
format.
be
Like format it like that.
that would be phenomenal. I think you get so many different perspectives,
Yeah.
and I think the book could be even like longer with that.
Yeah.
Which I think every Fourth Wing fan would not hate. Like, yes, make it longer. Make it a little bit longer, where we can get more of the.
I wonder if they can, if authors can just like flip flop point of views like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of anything else except for just adding the bonus ones where like, oh, these 2 books are in first person and now the third book is third person. So that's what makes me think it wouldn't be switched to that. It would just be switched to maybe alternating chapters from alternating POV.
Right. No, that makes sense too.
That would like still first person, but for different people.
No.
Okay. I have some like questions, like not debate, but like things I want to get your thoughts on.
Okay.
And then also just like a little more in depth of the content. What do you want to do first? I think we should do content first.
Okay.
Because of spoilers.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this is just talking up until chapter 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll let you guys know when we start to address it in the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler. So this year's still good up through chapter 16. So, okay, Dane. It's a Dane Ugg.
I saw that in your notes. Capital UGH.
Stalky is referred to by Xaden as Atos.
Yes.
Not Dane.
Not Dane. We're not on a first name basis. We are not friends.
No, I think it shows like the coldness and the distance and the formality, and not as a term of like respect. But as like demeaning in a way.
It kind of reminds me how when you've got a superior officer in some way and he's almost talking down to him because he is inferior. Yeah. Right. Oh, Dane is inferior to Xaden.
Xaden outranks him. Yeah.
So he's just going to call him by his last name in that regard.
Yeah, very military.
Very military-like. And it's always like added like, I guess, negative juice, I guess, in a way. Because it's not like Atos. No, it's never that.
Not
it's
like
never
a nickname.
No, it's like Atos. Like it's very like stern. Yeah. It's very very stern. Very yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. Atos.
So I just thought that was important to note, and then just his Dane's class of rule following. Like to a fault. There is no gray area with this man.
No.
There is no.
It is black and white. It is zebras. It is referees on the end. Newspaper.
Penguin. That's it. There is no gray areas. There is no. There is no consideration that you can like ethic.
No.
It's just and something Xaden says something like that. Like
he doesn't even have any sort of like moral high ground. In a way, you could argue.
He doesn't know morals. I think he takes rules as moral.
Yeah.
Because just because it's a law or a rule and what it doesn't mean that it's going to be right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we live in like real life. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to, step that's kind of a rule, but you have a good reason because it goes against your morals or to protect someone, then he's not going to do that.
Right.
Because he's like, the rule is the right thing. There was something that Xaden calls him like rule following something. I don't know, just like a demeaning term about following the rules.
Yeah, I know what part you're talking about. It's like as Dane is coming up to talk to them, and
Yeah.
or when Dane is accusing Xaden of interfering with threshing, and it's Xaden kind of talking in his mind of,
Rule following coward.
there you go.
I think there was another one, but yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
Xaden mentions or talks about how strict and rigid he is.
So,
we talked about how we hear Sgael for the first time, and I was like, I love that. Love the first stuff you hear from her. Really,
need it more.
This is all we're gonna get from or have that about Sgael so far. I think it was like a great show of this is Sgael's character. This is how she talks. Her rapport with Xaden, and how she finally been like, gets on him a little bit. Like, oh, are you having feelings? Are you having emotions?
It was great.
Their rapport and interaction was really good.
Very similar to Terran's, should I get the wing leader?
Yeah.
Sort of like snide comments.
Instigating.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's not just poke the needle. Let's, stir the pot. Isn't that the phrase?
I don't know. What
poke the bear? Thread the needle. Poke the bear.
I mean,
thread the bear. Don't do that.
Not the bear. I mean, poke the bear, like egg someone on.
Right.
And thread the needle. I don't know.
It's
like
more of a
like is that like
a
sports thing?
I've heard it more in sports.
Poke
Forget what I'm
needle.
saying. Poke the needle. No.
Okay, whatever you're trying to say.
Stir the pot.
Stir the pot. Yes. You're saying Sgael stirs the pot.
A little bit.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Not necessarily like within like the drama of like the grand scheme of things, but just to kind of like, bust Zane's chops a little bit. That's an actual saying. Like when you bust someone's chops.
Buster.
Yeah.
Bust someone's chop?
Yeah.
What is happening?
That's a real
bust your chop?
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to get your goat?
Yes, that's your version of get your goat.
Okay, so
exactly.
Sgael's just trying to get his goat.
Yeah.
Start.
I don't know. We start.
Where did we start with this?
I don't know.
Okay. Anything else about Sgael, or are you done with the bears and the goats and the needles?
We'll come back to it.
Okay. We learned some dragon lore about how mated dragons, how that bond works, and how it's so strong that it then connects the human bond as well, or connects the humans to the riders.
Right.
So, because Violet is connected to Terran, Terran's connected to Sgael, Sgael's connected to Xaden. If A plus B equals C plus D, then A equals D.
Okay, I left letters and mathematics a long time ago. Don't get me started with that again.
It's
I can't do it. I can't do it.
The transitive property of addition?
Stop.
Maybe? I don't know.
Stop assaulting my ears.
So as A, like, if this is this, and this is also this, the first one equals the last one.
I'm going to put this over here and that over there.
Okay, did you follow? If Xaden,
yes,
Sgael
yes,
equals Terran equals Violet, then Violet, by the transitive property, equals Xaden.
Figuratively and metaphorically, so yes.
Okay.
And
so
literally, yeah.
Right. So they're connected. And if something were to happen to any one of those at any point of that connection, all of them would crumble.
Awesome.
And therein squats the toad.
I don't know, staying.
Therein squats the toad, the problem, right? Where now Xaden is connected to Violet in this way. And that comes back to one of my discussion questions.
Right.
Where something were to happen to him, something would happen to his dragon, Violet's dragon, and Violet. And the other way around. So now it's all in everyone's best interest to protect everyone else.
Correct.
Including yourself. Because by protecting other people, you protect yourself.
This has got to be some better, like, visual thing, because it's not a domino effect. Because if you imagine, like, a domino 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you just knock down one of the middle ones in one direction, 2 will still standing.
Right. It's
so it's not a domino effect. It's something else.
No, it's the Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. That's only 3 people. I guess you could like
a Mexican standoff.
It's still only 3 people. We just watched the Big Bang Theory episode of that. It's not a stalemate. It's not a Mexican standoff. It's not a impasse.
Right. Kind of.
I guess kind of.
Because it's basically like a protection for
But
all
for
of
4
them.
people. For
Because,
4
like,
different
so
individuals.
for Xaden to hurt Violet, because at first he's like, why do I even, I can't believe I'm tied with her, because we start from a point of Xaden not liking her because of what happened between the rebels and the mom, right?
Yes.
So then Xaden's like, but to protect myself, I would protect her. So it really would be self-destructive to hurt her because it would come back to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. My brain's fuzzy.
No, you don't.
I do, but my brain's fuzzy. Let's move on.
Okay.
I think
Moving on. They're connected. It's important. The end.
I need y'all to like figure out what that word
We need a diagram.
4 people, a diagram, something.
All right. Here are our things. We talked about the dragons. Our themes. No.
Lovely themes.
No outright strength versus weakness in this one. I thought it was more implicit. They never talked about her being weak or driving live on strong riders, but implicitly, Dane being so protective over her implies she's weak.
Yeah.
And Xaden being like, let her live her own life, shows how he sees her as strong and sees the strength in her. And so you notice that difference, but that's more seen in the difference of like Dane v. Xaden.
Yeah.
At which we see them pitted against each other the entire book. All the time. And especially that was the most like overall theme that we saw in the bonus chapter 9 was the difference between how Dane acted and like you said, and how Xaden thought and what he said.
Right.
So we see that a lot. And that's the other thing of like opposites. The other that's the main opposites are like balance. But I was trying to think of how we see that in this chapter, and the only thing I could make is like that whole bond of the 4 of them now balances each other out a little bit.
It does.
Maybe. I don't know, but they're all like, to me, is Taryn and Sgael, they're not opposite.
No.
And your personalities are pretty similar.
But then you could argue that the opposites are not necessarily in terms of power, but in terms of the need of each other is dragons versus humans. And it's the 2 dragons, Sgael and Taryn, who desperately need Xaden and Violet to survive for their own survival, and vice versa, like we had just talked about. So you could say that there is balance there, just like you said.
Balance, not necessarily opposite.
Correct.
Right. So true. Like the dragons are on this side, he was on this side, and this thing happens. They have the same balance, or
because throughout the
Violet and Taryn. Sorry, Sgael and Xaden.
Because throughout the entire book, you hear multiple examples of all the dragons are superior to humans. There's even a quote that Violet's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure if the dragons didn't necessarily need the humans to protect the veil, they would just all eat us for lunch." Right. Super superior type of
levels.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. The balance kind of shifts a little bit, where now, even though they are willingly choosing humans to bond to, it does shift the balance and power. Not necessarily in favor to humans, but it's now kind of like a quote, even playing field.
Like checks and balances a little bit, but it ties them to humans in a way that now they have to.
They're more vulnerable. They're vulnerable,
but then it gives the humans a strength, because it's like Sgael would now look out for Violet. That's more people protecting Violet.
So the balance is now. I guess there is now more balance than imbalance just within that relationship. In power.
But I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's not balance or like opposites, but I think it's kind of poetic.
It is.
In a way of like, now that they're all have this inner connectedness, it kind of brings the dragons down and then elevates the humans a little bit.
Definitely.
That's interesting. I like that you brought that up. I hadn't thought of that. Any other opposites?
Not that I can think of.
Things are opposites the big. We talk about rules a lot in this chapter. There's no rule in this godforsaken college that would keep me from saving Bodhi, Garrik, or Liam's lights, and now hers. Xaden says that.
Yeah.
That's a good line.
It is a good line.
That's a good one. Let me read it again.
Go for it.
because I wasn't ready for it
Okay.
when I first read it. There's no rule in this God-forsaken college that would keep me from saving Bodhi's, Garrick's, or Liam's life, and now hers. So that multiple reasons, because it shows how different he is from Dane.
Yep.
Because Dane would be like, no, it's against the rules. You're not going to save someone's life. You really are going to be like, oh, but the rule book, like, what page? You know?
Yeah.
Like, he's really not going to. And then, so the difference of that and just his, like, loyalty, that's another thing we see a lot. His loyalty. The other three dudes. And then the addition on the end of, and now hers, meaning Violet. So the fact that now he's like, oh, I'm now tied to her, and I would break a rule to save her, and Dane wouldn't. Poo-poo on you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think you can go even deeper with how significant that is, because you have Dane, who is a very huge, annoyingly rule follower, but wouldn't break the rules to save Violet, even though he is childhood friends with Violet.
No, he's allegedly, like, cares for her.
Allegedly cares for her, allegedly has feelings with her, with this awful kiss that we get at the end of this chapter.
We'll get there.
We'll get there later, unfortunately. And then you have the polar opposite in that essence of background and character background history. Xaden, no history with Violet, like no growing up with her, no at least outright feelings with her at the present time.
For all intents and purposes, should hate her. Yeah.
For sure. And he is the one to first openly admit and say, like, oh yeah, I will for sure break rules to save you, to save these people's lives.
Yeah, without doubt.
That's more important than everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Big, obviously, difference of the alpha and the non-alpha.
As he says, he's an alpha, he's a beta.
Yeah.
I was hot, Liam. Are you ready for this? Everyone likes Liam, so hopefully she will too. Yeah, they moved Liam to the... Do they move Liam to the squad, or they just are debating it? Is he moved to Violet's squad? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he is. He is moved to, because he is a first year. Yes, Liam is a first year.
Yeah, because he just bonded.
Right. But he's not like a repeat first year. That's Sawyer.
That's
Sawyer. Okay, I was making sure, because sometimes we have gotten
I get
confused.
Yeah.
But no, Liam is still like a regular first year, not a repeat, so he gets moved
to protect Violet. Was the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Garrik saying this when Garrik and Xaden are talking about it.
Right.
Everyone likes Liam, so hopefully she will too. And then, like, oh, don't worry, like, he's not gonna, like, try to make a move on her.
No.
That's what you're worried about, Xaden.
Yeah.
And Xaden's like, why would I care about that? Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. Like that high schooler is like, oh, I don't care if that one girl has a boyfriend. Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I don't care. I don't have feelings.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, that's usually my Dane voice.
Yeah, that was your Dane voice.
Yeah, I don't break the rules. I'm a rule follower. I'm gonna go follow my rules. But every time Dane opens his mouth, that's all I hear.
I know we're supposed to like hate and be really annoyed with Dane, and so whoever they future cast for the
I know, I'm sorry for that man.
I am.
I'm sorry for that man.
But he just can't be that annoying, like verbally. It's just in actions.
It's not gonna sound like that.
No.
Yay. Okay. What we're talking about, Dane?
I don't know, you brought him up.
No, I said while we're
talking about Dane.
Just get it out of the way. The kiss.
It had to happen. Because I remember reading the book for the very first time. I'm like, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's when. And then initially I thought it was going to happen after she had at least survived. Parabid didn't happen. Survived.
Super early.
Survived like the first day of like sparring mats, didn't happen. When he carries her to like the like medics side. Crap, what are they called? Healers, thank you.
Are you okay?
No, it's been a while. Give me a break. When he literally carries her over to the healer side, and then all the other times he's like begging her to like go.
All the times in their room.
When maybe even when she completes the gauntlet.
Yeah.
something. I'm like, it's gotta happen eventually.
Yeah.
And even during this part where she's completed threshing, she comes back with the most powerful dragon. Then even comes back with two. Dane is still being the little butthead that he is.
I know.
And is like,
if nothing else proved that she is capable and strong, like, hello?
yeah.
He's like, oh, it's just two dragons.
Right. No big deal.
Not a big deal.
So then when that happened, I was like, oh, like, it sucks.
Yeah.
I kiss her. Like, this isn't happening. And then at the end of the chapter, then he kisses her. I was like,
now is your moment. Now's the time you choose.
So then when the
read
the
room,
when
Dane.
the regular chapter 16 ended, and it ends with Violet saying, and I'm filled with disappointment.
I was like,
yes. Oh, thank God. So am I.
God, thank God. Well, I like that's she says it's disappointing, and then Xaden says it looks like she just kissed her cousin. Like,
so not just like disappointment of how she feels, her like, body
outwardly
it's
like
body language is disgust.
You're like, yeah. And then there's other stuff I want to talk about the kiss, but we'll save that for when we do our next spoiler alert, because there's other things there. Okay. So, anything else about the kiss? Oh, Xaden's quote about the kiss. How fucking dare he kiss the mouth he wouldn't bend a rule to protect. Oh. Amazing.
Great line.
Yeah.
Great.
I was a little worried that it would be just like full of cheese, so cheesy.
But like, all these chapters with Xaden,
I don't
only
mind
had like
it.
4.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a cheesy line.
Well, a little bit like, I wonder what her ass would feel like. I'm like, or like, oh, she smells so good, like that kind of stuff. But that is just, I just don't like the typical romance writing.
I guess, but like everything else is not cheesy with him. It's very, I don't know.
Like he has those good one-liners, like how dare he kiss the mouth he wouldn't bend a rule to protect. And what was the other one? Oh, about what was the other quote I said?
Like what he calls,
him? There's no rule that would keep me from saving her life.
Right.
Like, those are good one-liners, but I don't need the, like, inner dialogue of how hot Violet is. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess there's some writers that are like, show, not tell, and some tell but don't show.
Right.
And I can never tell you, okay, is telling words or is telling description, and show is, I don't know. I want the one-liners from Xaden. I don't want his inner dialogue of
But what's funny though is like you say that, and I understand that thinking of like, we don't really necessarily need that comment of Xaden commenting about her ass.
I don't need.
However, if I remember correctly, literally the next sentence is a snide comment from Sgael. So that kind of thing is like a setup to give it for Sgael.
Yeah.
Everything. So I agree with you in the terms of, okay, maybe we don't necessarily need like the snide comments of like, oh, I bet her ass is so big or whatever, something like that.
No, so big, it's like,
I know it's not so big, or how it feels or whatever. Like, however, it sets up nicely of Sgael's side comments, and then we get more of the characteristics and the personal, characteristics of
Sgael, the banter
and everything like that. So I see your point.
I just can do it now.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. We talked about the rules, the kiss, themes, dragons, Dane, and Xaden's feelings. Anything else of just like the summary and analyzing up to that chapter? Where we level up our spoilers?
No, level it up.
All right. So now is your content warning for the entire book. I don't think we talk about...
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler, okay.
Yeah, like we're going to talk about the whole book.
Right.
I don't think... I didn't have anything that goes into Iron Flame, did you?
No. I don't believe so.
No.
Not from this chapter, no.
No. Okay. So, if we do, hold your tongue, and we'll add another content warning. Okay, so at this point, if you have not read to the end of Fourth Wing, see you later.
Catch you on the flip side.
Sure. Okay, since we just talked about the kiss, do you think the kiss was for the kiss, or was the kiss for the memories?
Oh, it's a great question because Zay even calls that out as right before he kisses her. He's like, he sees.
He does?
Yes, Dane calls out in like, or he doesn't call out, but he says, "Oh, he's putting his hands on her face, but to read the memories to see if I had helped her during threshing." And then he sees, and then he like turns away, and then
Because of it?
yeah, and then Garrick's like, "Oh," and then he sees her kissing. So great question, and because Zane even calls it out.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
You got it.
Relax.
Go ahead and read the
He's
quote.
kissing her back up, Garrik says, and I know without looking the asshole is still smiling. See? She's already turning around. Sgael turns in his arm, ages his arms, lifts his hands to her face. No doubt he's pilfering through her memories to see if I actually interfered.
That's exactly
Okay.
what I love my memory sometimes.
As Atos layers his head, he hisses Sgael. Yeah. Okay, so I guess, see, here's my thing, though. I didn't register that because I'm like, oh, at this point of the book, we don't know that in chapter 16.
That Dane is able to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. We don't learn that Dane can read the memories until way later on.
No.
Yet, babe.
We've been discussing.
We've been discussing it, but the book has not. We don't learn that until at the end.
Very early on. Very early on do we learn that Dane is able to read the most recent memories of people by touching people.
Right.
Okay.
But the reveal is at the end where it's like because
the reveal of what? I'm confused.
Okay. When in your first read of this, did you put together all the times Dane touched her face?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we have some type of new revelation.
Okay, I see where you're getting at now.
So this, no doubt he's pilfering through her memories to see if I actually interfered. We don't, as readers, at chapter 16, we don't have that knowledge.
No.
We don't have that revelation or that idea yet.
Right.
But if you so that's my question about these bonus chapters. Does it go, you read chapter 16 and then you read bonus chapter 16 and then chapter 17? Because some of this wouldn't make any sense.
True.
Or is it you read the whole thing, time jump back to chapter 16?
When I heard it through Audible, at least through Audible, they order it last chapter of the book, bonus chapter 9, bonus chapter 16.
Okay.
So that's how Audible is doing it.
I don't like that.
I don't know how Miss Rebecca Yaros would have liked us to do that, but to be fair, she did release it obviously much later.
Right, as like a bonus, but is it to be inserted? I wonder if in the physical book, someone tell me, if the physical book with the updates of the bonus content, is it in the chronological order of the chapters, or is it taped on at the end?
Right. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know, but that's why I didn't even register in my brain, because also I know the whole book at this point.
Right.
But that would be, if you're reading it in order, chapter 16, bonus chapter 16, and you see here, no doubt he's pilfering through her memories, you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
But now that we know everything that he does do that,
right, now you want me to know.
We've taken account of every time that he has touched her.
Right, because in the moment you don't even register it.
Right.
So
we have gone back and forth of, is it just a simple like, oh, I need to touch your hand? Or is it he specifically has to touch her face or someone's face or like around the head or temple to be able to read the memories? I think we are back on, you have to touch their face, like where the head, not necessarily like, oh, let me just grab your hand, like a graze of the hand. This is going to look wild in post. Probably. Okay. But we think we're back on. So he has to touch the face. So
what does Dane say when he first tells Violet what the power is? It's time to touch their temples. And then it turns out it's the entire faith, not just the temple.
Right. Because I'm trying to picture it.
There's a lie. Because then we get that reveal at the end of I've been reading your memories all along. So I don't know.
I think there is enough evidence where you could strongly debate and have a great argument that he is trying to read Violet's memories.
Right.
However, you could also, I think you could easily make the argument against it too, because he does say later in the next chapter or whatever that he basically almost like apologizes for kissing her because it's against the rules. And he let one slip. He let one slip.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah.
So I think there's multiple ways where you could be like back and forth with that. I would totally understand and borderline agree that he does do it to read her memories to see if Xaden.
Right. He's more
trust.
interested in that than the kiss.
Yeah.
So is it like 50-50? 50 for the kiss, 50 for the memories?
Could be.
Or like what's your over under?
My over under would probably
I'm probably using that wrong, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
60-40?
I'd probably go like 70-30. 70% for the
memories.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even think he likes her like that. I think he's playing a bit.
Because we've gone back and forth with how at this point he's very much like a puppet.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah, and
strung along like with
and we think maybe it's like Melgren.
Melgren or his dad.
Mm-hmm. Unconfirmed, but like we think that.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be at no point though has he had contact with them before this kiss. So then for them to like command him to go read the memories, but he could just be like, they're gonna want to know. So let me just look
either that, or it could be an underlying thing where Dane just does not like Xaden. That is out in the open. That's very obvious. That Dane doesn't like Xaden, doesn't trust him.
Right.
Thinks to the moon and back that Xaden's out to kill Violet. So if he might try to find his own way to get Xaden out. So you think
he's trying to protect Violet by reading the memories?
Could be. I think that's I don't agree with it, but I think that's something that he could come up with in his mind of like, oh, I'm trying to save Violet again. So if I get to if I can have Xaden like kicked out or have him executed,
more so to get
something like that.
More so to get dirt on Xaden.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Not necessarily 100% to protect Violet.
Could be that, but also could just be like, I don't like Xaden, I don't trust him, and I don't like that he is the son of the traitor.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get him out.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's multiple levels. I think that one maybe best serves the Dane MO, if you will.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have another 50-50 question.
Okay.
Do you think Xaden truly wants to protect Violet due to his feelings for her, or is it self-preservation?
At this point in the book, I think it's self-preservation.
Okay.
I think if he, at this point in the book, was truly in love with her, like he does later, he would be the one protecting her, not Liam. I think him sending Liam first was more like, I trust Liam enough to keep her alive.
Right.
And he says he doesn't care if Liam tries anything with her, but he does. But at the same time, he doesn't. He trusts Liam enough to not even like question it. So if he was even a tad bit concerned that he would, because he would be jealous of even being attractive to her.
Yeah, or he's like, I care about her so much that I would rather her sleep with my friend who's protecting her and she's protected.
Yeah.
Like at that point, it's not about like, oh, my friend is sleeping with her or trying something. He loves her so much that he's like, I don't care if that happens as long as she's safe.
I see that. I think I do. And to go with like your 50-50 question, I think there's definitely some sort of like there's obviously some sort of attractiveness, or he says that he tries to deny it, and which I've taken notes on about how he's trying to hide his emotions because he has this like exterior where he tries to be like almost like impenetrable, like, oh, I don't have emotions, very stoic. So with that, I think it is more him being just self-preservation because I need to survive. I don't want to die, and also Sgael and Taryn can't die. So I think that is more of the controlling factor. So I would give it, at this point in the book, I give it 75-25.
Which way?
75 self-preservation.
Okay.
75-25.
So what about all the things he says of like she's gonna distract him and give him a weakness because it breaks his focus and his control.
There's no question he's attracted to her. There's no question that he can almost not future sight, but he can predict that
He's like, oh, this is gonna be bad.
If he continues down the path, it's not a good ordeal. And there's definitely within the whole series, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, Xaden's got a past. He's got a history where he's liked girls and everything like that with Cat and everything. Cause like I'm not like with Cat, he has a history with Cat and everything, and he has a history of like, oh, I've got feeling or I'm attracted to people. But I think this might be maybe an argument could be made that Violet is the first like woman that he loves, like unconditional loves. Like,
so you're saying he's been with people before, but he's not been in love.
Correct. So I think that's where he is also maybe having conflicting feelings of like, I'm not sure what this is because I am attracted to her. That is very documented right now, even this part in the book.
Right, but not
is
from love.
Love.
Okay,
that's
what you're saying.
That's where I'm going at, and I think he is fighting that with the self-preservation sentence, like, "Oh, I don't love you, but you're hot, but I also need you to not die."
Yeah, and so
putting up that
I need you to not die so that I don't die, not because I care about you.
Right.
That's the difference.
That's what he's saying, but I don't. That's not true.
Right. Or do you, when you said, oh, he sent Liam to protect her because at this point he doesn't love her that much to do it himself? Is that what you were saying?
No, I'm more saying that he sent Liam to do it because maybe as of this point right now, he can very easily see Violet as a distraction and doesn't want to go down
there. So that it was like, I love her so much and I'm so into her that if I were around her, it would be too distracting. So I'm going to have to take a step back. So have Liam protect her and be around her more so that I don't like get too into it. So that's how I took it.
So then with that logic and that way of thinking, you sound like you're more the opposite of me, that you think he's more acting out of love. So I'm more thinking that he's acting as of his emotions right now, that he is attracted to her, but if he continues down that path, he feels that he himself will just be distracted and not doing what he needs to do. So he's more going off of self-preservation at this point in the book right now, and that he just wants to have her protected because of the self-preservation, and that's why Liam is sent there, and why the reason why he's not there is because then the self-preservation goes down, he gets distracted, and and him being distracted puts him and her at risk.
Right. So then it's like his protection protects her, which protects him.
Yes.
And that's the confusing part.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay. But we didn't get yours. What was yours?
I don't know. Because part of me thinks
So is it 50-50? Is it truly 50-50 for you? Okay.
I guess. Because part of me is like still a little wary of his intentions at first.
Right. I gotcha.
So I'm going to put it at 50-50. Okay. Do you think it was fair for Xaden to pose the hypothetical question to Dane? You good?
No, my mic's finally ate it. It's not good. Oh, I think
that's a solution.
Sure. We'll go with it. Okay. Please restate your question.
Do you think it was fair for Xaden to pose the hypothetical to Dane?
Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was fair. Because you've got this weasel who follows her around like a puppy dog, and she doesn't want this puppy dog, and is also a avid rule follower to the point where you're now risking cadets, now dragon riders' lives. So he poses the hypothetical question: if her life is at risk, and the only way to save it is for you to break a rule, would you do it? And he says no. Not only does that, I think, show just like as a bad friend or a even person that Violet is close to, I think that shows bad leadership. I don't think that's someone worthy of being a wing leader, like later on. Like, yes, you follow the Codex rules to a point, but if the school is on fire and there's an army of dead coming at you, and the only way to prevent it from happening is to break one Codex rule.
Army of the Dead? Sorry, I zoned out. Army of the Dead? Is that what you said?
Yes. It was a hypothetical. I know that's not
Oh.
what happens.
I was like, is this Game of Thrones?
No, but I used a Game of Thrones reference.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was following you, and then I heard Army of the Dead, and I was like, I zoned out, and he went all the way to Game of Thrones.
If you want me to be more literally like present with the book, I will. But since
It's fine. I just was making.
Okay, fine. If you want an army of wyvern and venom that are knocking at your door, and the only way to stop them is to break a codex rule, but you won't do it, homeboy.
Right.
What you doing then?
Why are you in charge?
Why are you in charge?
How did we get here?
Exactly.
Who told you? Who gave you the right? Yeah.
So I think that's absolutely fair. I think you, from there, you point out a very, very obvious kind of person of who has just morals, like,
right,
who can point out right from wrong, not just from like, oh, what's the written rule, what's the written law. Sometimes laws have been changed, not just in fantasy world, but in real life.
Yeah,
laws have been changed.
Like civil rights, women's right to vote
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Just because it was a law doesn't.
Let's have a better moral high ground of what is the best thing to do. And if you say, oh no, the written law, which can be changed and probably has changed several times, is more important than someone's life, bro, you should not be in charge. You should not have a dragon.
Right. My conspiracy theorist inside of my brain is like, who wrote these laws? Who wrote these laws? Who wrote the codex? The first writers?
Could have been. And maybe it was added on. I don't know. We don't have any sort of timetable of the 10 Commandments of Sgael War College.
There's more than 10.
I know there's more than 10, but we don't.
It's called the Codex.
I know. We don't know the timeline of that. We also don't know if it was the original writers that wrote the original rules, and then the rules have been added on by other people.
Like the not 10 Commandments, but the Declaration of the Independence, Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights. Yeah.
You know, when it was like written in like ye old times.
Right. It started with what? Right about here. What did it start with? It started with like 10 amendments, like your amendment rights.
12.
It started with 12. Okay, I was close.
Yeah.
And then now we're up.
And it was things like you have to house soldiers in your house because it was like during that era, that was like an important thing, and then it never was revisited. So that's my question: is like, who wrote these rules? Not necessarily in the context of like time passing, but like cultural changes, or like, did they write it for their own benefit, and are they corrupt? You know, and maybe they didn't think of the implications of if there's a rebellion and what these rules could imply later on, things like that.
Wrote them.
Yeah, it's an old white man.
Well, for best guys, we don't know that, but for
no, I know. But that's what people always say, like Bill Fright. Okay, moving on.
With terrible hairstyle choices.
Did I say what the question was? The hypothetical.
Yes, you did. What's your answer to that question?
I don't know. That's why I ask these questions, because I don't know. I don't know.
What does our audience think? Is this a fair question?
I don't know.
Is this a fair hypothetical question for Xaden to ask Dane? I think so. And if you say anything else, you're wrong.
And the question is, would you have, let's say, bent those rules to save your precious little Violet in that field? Sgael says it's cruel. And that is cruel even for you. And then I hate when she does that. She's the only one. That's unfair of him to ask of him. So even Violet.
I mean, from their perspective, I understand. Violet, I think, is standing up for, or trying to stand up for Dane, because she's still trying to hold on to that childhood memory of Dane. So she's trying to be kind of like protective of him. She even like stands in front of Dane in a visual trying to protection. Trying to guard him and everything like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
I mean, who he is going to come out no matter what.
Right.
And Xaden's thoughts, it says, come on, show her who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Like, because I guess I don't like it because it hurt Violet, but like, she's going to find out anyways. It was just like.
This would, I
Important,
mean,
you know.
this I think also supports kind of the theory of if Dane is being tagged along or is being held like on by strings as a puppet from higher up people of the conspiracy, that he is a puppet and that he is there to do bidding from the higher up people, that if you're posed the question of would you break the rules, oh no, I can't break the rules of the rules that are set in stone by my higher up people, because if I break the rules then maybe I'm not worthy in their eyes to be in a position of power like they promised me to be, and yada yada.
He's trying to put on a show.
Put on a show. You could easily go down like that sort of rabbit hole. Hello, Bethany. This is Bethany, everybody.
This was the commotion.
One of our little dragoons.
This is our Andarna. Heavy breathing. Why are you stressed, girl? I know. Dane's not cool. So, with that being said. True. He could just be... You think he's just saying it for, like, to look good to his superiors?
No, I don't think... I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
But I also think it's... That maybe kind of, like, idea has now been so ingrained into him from, like, his first year. Because right now he's a second year, so in his first year he was probably like so rehearsed by his peers, like you have to follow the rules, and this is if you follow all the rules, then you'll be a squad leader, you'll go far. Leader, you'll go far in life, and then if you say yes every single time to your higher ups with no questions asked, then you'll go far. You'll be a general someday. His dad has probably said all this to him in his childhood, probably.
Yeah, so you think that's where the rule following comes from? Is he's trying to advance?
I think so. I think it's like all very been like even higher like climatic in that regard. Even to this point, and now his kind of like career at Bad Guy. I think we see more of that in Iron Flame.
Yeah, true. So you think it was fair?
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You have some notes on here.
I do.
Do you want your...
We can, yes. Are we good covering yours? Covering your stuff?
Yeah, those are the times I had, and then those questions.
Okay. So, I'll just reiterate some stuff that I had already said. So, obviously, we had heard more of Sgael. Yeah. And we've never heard of Sgael. We always just hear in regular Violet's POV, we either hear Terrence say, oh, Sgael said this,
or Xaden's like
Sgael said this. Yeah. So now we get the actual like sentence
from the word of the mouth. What?
Did you have a stroke?
Straight from the horse's mouth.
This is a dragon. Sgael is a dragon.
Okay, it's a saying.
I know.
Straight from the dragon's mouth.
Yes.
The word of the...
I'm
not okay. Continue.
Anywho, so now we get more of that, which I've just put in the note, like, more of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just gold. Yeah. I laughed every time Sgael talked, basically, because it was hilarious.
It's funny. Yeah.
It was funny. I needed more of it.
Funny.
Okay. I don't know if you caught this, because you didn't mention it, but... Well, no, you didn't say that. So I'm wondering if you caught it or not.
Okay.
In this chapter, but not mentioned in the original chapter 16 of Fourth Wing, Garrik is coming back from a mission.
Oh.
At Threshing.
Oh,
so
Garrik
came back from what we're assuming to be Erasha. Came back from a mission at this book. And I was like, interesting. Speak more, Garrik. Where have you been? What you been doing? Just an interesting like timeline of like, okay, so Threshing's going on. Very, very ideal time just to sneak up because there's a lot happening at the campus of Bezgai.
Sorry.
It was the biggest yawn ever. I'm so happy that was caught on camera. I'm talking. Yeah, really interesting. My wife. So bored.
Not at you at all. It just happened. I think I wasn't breathing.
Why were you breathing?
Sorry. So you're saying was
talking to you guys now because my wife doesn't care.
The snare probably.
Dog just tried to leave.
Like, okay, so
love me, so I'll just talk to you now. So Garrik is now.
I'm trying to say something. I have a question about what you said. So you were saying it's interesting that. Oh my god, the mic.
Fortunate.
Falling apart. So you mentioned Garrik has come back from a mission.
Correct.
Are you saying it's just to note because it's like a little dragon egg sprinkled here and there, or are you trying to put it in like a specific time frame of what he might have been doing?
That's why I'm bringing it up, because I don't know. I think it's just an
Okay.
interesting little dragon egg. Like, why put that there? Is it just to kind of
enriches
right?
the
Is it a
clues.
dragon egg? Is it a clue? Is it just to re-emphasize and re-support that this has been going on this entire time and we just never noticed or never caught on to it?
Right.
So Garrik coming back from this mission to Eurasia, supposedly
Right.
what we're thinking, during threshing, I thought is brilliant because the whole college campus is doing fresh.
True, it's like a good time to
great time to
sneak
do it.
away.
Yeah, great time to
Yeah.
sneak away. You got nowhere else to be.
Right.
You got nothing else to do. Go
Right.
find a mission. But it's interesting that it's only Garrik that we think that I know.
Well,
Garrick's the only one mentioned that it's
Yeah.
only about permission. We don't know if Bodhi went. We just know that Garrik did go.
Right.
So very possible that Imogen, Bodhi, and Garrik
Right.
made this trip. So could also have been something like Garrik and Bodhi go off to Eurasia, and
Yeah.
obviously we've already done our spoiler content, but we'll re-emphasize. Obviously, at the end of of Eurasia, we know Brennan is there, so they could have been like, "Hey, today's threshing, Brennan. Violet's still here. Got any help for us? Do you have it?
Oh.
Do you have? Hold on to it. Hold on. Let me get there.
Okay.
Do you have any connection left with Taryn? Because your former buddy writer was Taryn's last
Right.
died.
Right.
What was his name?
Nolan.
Naolan.
I always get him.
Nolan is the healer. Naolan was the
Naolan.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. That's how I say it in my brain.
The way you say
Naolan. N-A-O. How would you say N-A-O? Now.
Naolan.
Naolan. Naolan.
Just still doing it wrong. How is he doing that? Nails on a chalkboard. Naolan had died. You just
continue.
Taryn was that dragon. So I wonder if it was like Bodhi and Garrik going to a racing like, hey bro, Violet is at threshing.
Yes.
If you have any sort of connection left with Taryn somehow, some way, don't know how that would be, but if you did, now's the time. So
how would they know she's bonding Taryn though?
They don't. But it could have been. I really believe that this could have been some sort of like other conspiracy plotline. You have mentioned your own kind of prediction of some sort that there's an underlying team of support for Violet to make sure she stays alive.
Right.
Especially with like Imogen all of a sudden being her BFF later on.
Right.
Random, but okay. Right. Now we have Bodhi. Now we also have Garrik that is also in cahoots with Xaden, and Xaden now obviously has these romantic feelings. That's a separate issue. However, you have now this idea I'm putting out there that you have another possibility where Brennan's like, yes, I know how to get a hold of Taryn or whatever, and then Darna's gonna be there. Don't know who she is yet, but Taryn will be at threshing. Right. We have supported the idea that Andarna has been there since the get-go. This has been planned by Andarna, but Sgael loves Andarna because she loves the little golden child, and Sgael loves Taryn loves Sgael. It's all a complete circle. It's all pretty low. But the idea still exists that Brennan could have been like, Taryn, now's the time, bro.
That Garrik went to Brennan. Brennan still has some type of connection with Taryn. He never had a connection with Taryn.
No, he doesn't. I'm not saying like a inner dialogue with Taryn. I'm not saying
okay.
That. I'm saying somehow he could have had a connection with Taryn. I'm not saying like telepathically.
Sure.
I'm saying by some other maybe with because we know for sure from Iron Flame, Brennan still has his current dragon. And all dragons can still talk to each other.
Right.
So Brennan's dragon could have talked to Taryn.
Okay.
And Taryn
I see.
Went.
Taryn went.
He went to Thresh.
However, they're very, very adamant about how humans have no say in the lives of dragons.
Yes, that is correct. Until they're bonded. Where we had just discussed that once they're bonded, there is a balance that has shifted.
Right, but it's still not like Violet's going to tell Taryn what to do. Or Brennan, who's like 2 dragons removed from Taryn, could tell him what to go do.
No, you're right. But at the same time, there's a lot of
so you don't think Garrick's mission was like a weapons mission? It was like a go talk to Brennan.
Very easily could have been. No doubt about it. I also think it could have been a quick flight iteration. Like, hey, bro, Violet's in threshing. You want to make sure she still stays alive.
Yeah.
But we don't want to trust some rando dragon that we don't know of. I think she's in the best hands of being the most powerful dragon out there. That pretty much guarantees,
Yeah.
as best we can, her safety.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's where I'm putting out
I
there.
thought it
I'll let Fourth Wing talk and our fans
Yeah.
kind of debate.
I thought it was just Rebecca throwing in a little Easter egg about the missions.
And it very well could.
But that's if the chapter is in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. I just point out that Xaden's emotions are just at a constant roller coaster. He's back and forth in his own mind if he just tolerates her, if he just wants her to survive, or if he does actually like her. There's no question that he's attracted to her. With his comments about how she looks,
like we know
you're attracted to her. We know you're a little horny. Keep it in pants.
Keep
it in your flight leathers.
Nice.
But are you actually like in love with her? And he's like starting to debate that.
Right.
And he goes quickly back like, I think very early on in this chapter, if I remember correctly, he's like, at one point I was just 50-50 if I wanted to kill her or not. But now I'm kind of like, I guess I'll have to tolerate you, but if you are bonded to Terra now, I have to actually protect you. But you're kind of hot. And if that's a slippery slope,
well,
and I don't want to get distracted, but then I might love you. Like, it's just
okay,
up and down.
And find my quote.
Sure, go for it.
Because I forgot something. I forgot something about his feelings. Maybe that's exactly what violence is, my downfall.
Mm.
And he's even acknowledging there, because later on at some point he's like, you'll be the death of me.
Yeah.
And so he acknowledges, like, in some way, and it could be because our parents were enemies, because of I love you so much that you're going to make me weak, or some mysterious third option I haven't considered.
Right.
But he even then mentions it. So I think he acknowledges the connection is so strong, but at this point now, right at Freshing, he isn't like open to it. He's like, it's a strong connection, but I'm not like gonna do anything about it. Or like we just don't know it all, the whole what it means yet.
Right. So there is a lot that goes on in Xaden's head, and a lot of his POV I think is very revealing. I think it's very informative of how he's dealing with his emotions and what he's experiencing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a bag of spiders.
What does that mean?
Oh, crazy. It's all...
You're just making it up now.
Or is it about cats?
I don't think it's that either.
It's not that.
A bag of cats. Herding cats is like chaos.
Yeah, I know that's chaos, but...
A bag of cats.
Bag of cats.
Barrel.
Imagine like 6 hollies all in a bag and you try to reach in. See what happens.
So it's dangerous? Or it means it's... What are you trying to say? It's a bag of spiders. What were you...
It's all jumbled. It's all like messy.
Okay.
Like marbles? I don't know. Moving on. And then lastly, the only thing I had for this bonus chapter is Xaden makes a comment about his shields, and then when Melgren comes, that he has easily have tuned him out and calls him a murderer, and it begins the plot of the higher conspiracy. Which is...
Did I read this chapter? I feel like I don't remember that.
I guess not. So
continue.
That was a real interesting point for me, that we know from this chapter and the source of this chapter and the end of Fourth Wing and an Iron Flame,
right?
Everything that happens to Basgaeth, who the traitors are within Basgaeth,
right?
And we also have the very few interactions with Melgren in not just in Fourth Wing, but also in Iron Flame, and now we get a very, very specific mindset and
like calling out Melgren.
You're like, okay, so it's not just like certain people that are traitors. Like one specifically is the scribe that is the traitor, but it also goes as high as Melgren. Interesting. And to call him like a murderer like that, it's just like, oof.
Oh, I kind of don't know weird. But
that's great for you to say.
So that's about why he has shields up?
He talks about, like, as soon as he sees Melgren, his shields go back up, and so that he can, I guess have his, like, thoughts about Melgren, and then he also, in his mind, calls Melgren a murderer.
Okay.
And he has always have not trusted Melgren, and because he knows everything, and just the way that he talks about Melgren being who he is, he's the general of everything, basically. It supports more of the plot of the higher conspiracy and everything. That's all I wasn't adding anything more to that. It's just like, there's
pointing it out. Okay.
That's all.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Awesome.
Anything else?
That is all, my love.
Okay.
This is a great episode, especially for our first video one.
I know. I will apologize again that I'm looking all around, because I will figure out. Probably most of you watch this app will be like, where should I be looking?
Yeah.
What should I be doing? So, I apologize for that. Thank you for sticking with that. And any other things that we don't even know about yet that might have gone wrong. Awry in this. Yeah, anything else that might have gone awry in this video recording adventure.
Yes.
And to follow us on all our other places on the internet.
We're all over the internet.
All over.
When I did a Google, sorry to interrupt. When I did a Google search, we came up like several times.
Nice. What'd you search?
Like just bonus chapter of Fourth Wing, and I scrolled down on Google, and I scrolled down. And it's like podcast quadrant.
Nice.
Spotify podcast quadrant. Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Podcast quadrant. We're doing it.
Follow us on all the other places on the internet: TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube now with our video podcast episodes. And then you can listen on Spotify and Apple Music and rate and review and leave a comment. It really does help us. Thanks.
We'll catch you on the next episode. We're covering chapter 17 of the normal chapter 17 of Fourth Wing. We don't know when that will be. We'll be perfectly honest. I'm very, very busy. So is this one. So we will do our best to keep you updated when that will happen. But until then.
But in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Do all that. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Close it!